Before we serve you dinner, I'd like to invite on the podium someone who is very important to EFQM. He was one of the 14 CEOs who signed the letter of intent in 1988, letter of intent that led to the creation of EFQM, then European Foundation for Quality Management, in 1989. Fritz Fahrni was then CEO of Sulzer, a Swiss industrial engineering and manufacturing company. He's been engaged in excellence ever since, probably before that as well, in different ways. He's been involved in creating the model that you all know in the early 90s. He's co-authored a book on quality management, but also in the past 10 years, he was the president of the jury for the Swiss Excellence Award. So please welcome Mr. Fahrni on the podium for a brief introduction. Thank you.
Well, thanks for the introduction, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you don't regret that you have to wait another 20 minutes or maybe half an hour or maybe 40 minutes, whatever, until you can really go to eat what you came here for. It happened in 1986 on my first trip abroad as a newly designated CEO of Sulzer. After a frustrating experience in our factory in Taiwan, I finally boarded a plane back to Europe, or exactly speaking, back to Amsterdam. The frustration was caused by a so-called quality check performed by Japanese quality experts. 6 people had been in our small factory for full 5 days. They had inspected everything: products, processes, infrastructure, much more, under the cover of quality check. To me, it was straight espionage. The argument was that the Europeans had nothing in terms of a recognized, accredited total quality check comparable to the Japanese Deming model. Now, just think back. Some of you may remember. We were used in the 80s to be in competition with US companies and with their specific behavior. Some called it Texas or Indian behavior. But as of the mid-80s, the Japanese industry was on the upswing. High growth, excellent profitability, a staggering trade surplus vis-à-vis Europe and particularly vis-à-vis the United States, and they had incorporated an overall quality system. The Japanese industry dominated the industrial world with their products, certain branches, with their processes, their business performance and their dynamics. Europe at that time was in some kind of a sleep. It was almost a permanent recession, little growth, and we were spending too much time and attention on repairing products. That was our understanding of product quality, without enough attention on process quality, leave alone total quality, and leave even more alone business quality. Hence, as an international company headquartered in Europe, we had, whether we wanted to or not, to accept such quality checks, especially in our Asian plants, if we wanted to export our products to Japan or be a supplier to their country. In the plane, finally, I sat next to a tall European. It turned out that he had had almost exactly the same experience with 2 of his business units in Taiwan, wanting to export products and parts to the Japanese market. His name was Cornelius van der Kloekt, CEO of Philips and headquartered in Holland. The discussion: what must we do in Europe? It was clear that strong action was needed, and copying was no solution. It's hardly ever a solution. However, Europe had a pretty decent culture of quality and products, and to a certain extent also on process quality. Now, combined with a possible commitment of the top management of many European companies, big or small, we could come up with an overall quality of a company. In other words, the pyramid. Product quality was essential. Process quality was essential to stay on. The quality of the company was essential for the survival, and it was also the basis for the quality of life. Now, we called the idea business excellence. We realized immediately that business excellence is a tricky term. Just think what Darwin said about excellence. In his Survival of the Fittest, he points out the challenge as follows. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but it is the one which adapts best to the future changes. Not bad, I think. Now, Cornelius van der Kloot and I dreamed of a club of top European industrial CEOs engaging not only their companies, but themselves personally and financially to lead the European industry back into the top league. Van der Kloot took the organizational lead with his Philips staff, and I began to collaborate with academia for an excellence model which would work for our real economy. 2 years later, just 25 years back from now, on September 15, 1988, 14 CEOs of leading European companies met in Brussels and signed a letter of intent to form a European foundation dedicated to increasing the competitiveness of European business. Political support was envisaged and wanted, not least because the American Baldrige Award was handed over year after year by the US President personally, causing remarkable PR effects. We, however, were convinced that it was up to us as industrial leaders and up to our companies to build and enhance business excellence. Once that process was in progress, Europe would profit. So the European Foundation for Quality Management, EFQM, was formally established a year later in 1989 in Montreux, when presidents and CEOs of then already 67 companies, European companies, subscribed to the policy document and declared their commitment to achieving EFQM's mission and vision. I recall one interesting discussion among the CEOs. Should the invitation to the EFQM Forum and the fora to come be addressed exclusively to the CEOs with the encouragement to take along 5 to 20 of their co-workers? Without CEO, no participation of companies. Now, the idea didn't last for very long, unfortunately, I think, because I'm still convinced that it depends a lot, not exclusively, but it depends a lot on the actual commitment of our leaders, of us as leaders of the company, the actual, not just the written or the verbal commitment of the executives. Okay, the European Foundation for Quality Management set up a team, working group of experts from industry and academia to develop the EFQM model, a holistic framework that can be applied and adapted to any kind of organization, regardless of size or sector. Since its launch in 1992, thousands of organizations in Europe have done so internally, have applied that model, and hundreds have done it also externally by participating in European, but also national and regional EFQM Excellence Awards. The names of the leaders who signed the initial letter of intent are known and listed. Less known are the people who engineered the EFQM and its framework. I mentioned just two. I should actually mention probably about a dozen. One is Kees van Ham from Philips. He was essential in the founding, structuring, starting, and the growth process of EFQM. And his commitment and his endurance with us as CEOs who were not easy to handle was exemplary. And the second one was Professor Hans-Dieter Segetzi from the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland. Before, he was a member of the executive management team of Hilti in Liechtenstein. Now he would be called CTO, but that wasn't known at that time yet. Now, Professor Segetzi was not only a very knowledgeable and experienced expert in quality management, he was also, first, the architect of the organizational structure between the different European quality bodies, and at the same time, second, he gave decisive input into the development of the EFQM business excellence model. Interestingly, his story of how he was able to start the coordination between the established European Organization for Quality, EOQ, and the new idea of EFQM, with a strong emphasis on leadership and management of enterprises, makes it clear that luck and intuition is needed besides all the sophisticated planning. Here is the story. In '87, Professor Segetzi was president of the EOQ. He was invited to deliver a speech about the new strategy of his organization at the World Conference of Quality held in Tokyo. Present at this meeting were also two top managers of Philips, and there Cornelius van der Kloekt informed Professor Segetzi about his idea of a club of top CEOs, European entrepreneurial personalities. Hence, there, in the far Japan, the bridge between quality of products and processes represented by the EOQ on the one hand, and quality management in the form of the EFQM on the other hand, was established. Now, to be sure, the relationship between the two European organizations was initially not without tension. But in the end, the solution was sound, strategic and operational aspects were matched in a productive way. Today, the European industry can claim that its global standing in business excellence is truly competitive. More important for the future, not least thanks to the EFQM organization, the European industry is in a position to stay successfully in the top league. And I'm deeply convinced that the EFQM prize and award winners of tonight will enhance that reputation. My congratulations goes already now to them, and I wish them good luck for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fahrni. I guess it's critical to understand one's history in order to look forward, and so really thank you for sharing with us the history of behind the EFQM. Now I guess it's time for dinner. Before that, I hope, I wanted to say, Mr. Fahrni, I hope that you're proud of the baby you've generated 25 years ago, but we are very much thankful to what you did with your colleagues in the other 13 organizations back then. So thank you again. Enjoy the dinner, enjoy the evening, and soon you'll know who won the award and the prizes. So again, enjoy.